probably a good.
It's time.
You can put it in a car.
All right, it is 7 PM on Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. We're gonna open the administrative board meeting. You roll call, please.
Chris Sample,
Here.
Jan Christensen,
Here.
Don Talbot,
Sure.
William Lexinger,
Here.
Timotisi is absent. Nathan Maz,
Here.
Rick Worm,
Here.
Jamie Maz, absent. Brett Fergie
Here.
and Mark Hein.
Yes.
I think I got.
I think everybody's here. On the consent agenda, tonight we have number one, the August 23rd, 2022 administrative board minutes. Number two, bills payable warrant list dated September 27th, 2022 for a total of $83,528.39. And number three, outside meeting pay for elected officials total $800. At this time, do any of the board members wish to remove any of the three items on the consent agenda for further discussion?
I move to place agenda items 1, 2, and 3 inclusively as consent agenda items. Further, I move that all items be considered together as consent agenda.
Second. William makes a motion to place items 1 through 3 inclusively as the consent agenda. Nathan seconds. Is there any discussion? There shouldn't be. Roll call, please.
John Christensen,
Yes.
John Talbot,
Yes.
William Lexinger,
Yes.
Timotisi is absent. Nathan Maz
Yes.
and Chris Sample.
Yes.
Entertain second motion.
I move to adopt items 1, 2, and 3 inclusively on the consent agenda in a single group pursuant to the omnibus vote procedure specified in the Illinois Municipal Code.
William makes a motion to adopt items 1 through 3 inclusively as a consent agenda. John seconds. Shouldn't be discussion. Roll call, please.
John Talbot, William Lexinger,
Yes.
Bill Motisi absent, Nathan Maz,
Yes.
Chris Samples,
Yes.
Jen Christensen.
Yes.
Motion passes 702. Item C, we do not need, which was the reason we didn't need discussion, was there were no items removed from the consent agenda. Move down to me. I have nothing. Do you have anything on Sandy's behalf this evening
No,
or yours?
no. Oh, yes, I do under me. I have the treasurer's report is in your packet for August. I do have talked to the auditors. I should, next month, you should see the checking account balances because I worked with the auditors on that and I still have to get with the SNA to make sure I'm doing it properly. That's all I have.
All right. Move on to the report of the village attorney.
Looks like I have a few items I've been asked to speak about. One of the items that is going to be presumably under the new business section of your agenda is a resolution authorizing, this is sense of deja vu. It's because not the first time we tried to sell 117 Prairie Moon. There is a resolution that's going to attempt to do that again. There is a couple of statutory methods for you guys to sell property. We most recently attempted a version that was going to require you guys to get a bid of at least the fair market value of the property. You had an appraisal. I don't remember exactly what it was, but you did not get bid that equated to that amount. So we're pursuing now the alternative method, which is you can take the highest and best offer, whether it's the in the amount of the value of the property or not. This provides a window until November 8th to receive bids from interested parties. We've identified that the village's preferred use of the property is single family home, but we'll see. The bids will be open on November 8th and hopefully there will be bids in the plural. And at that time we'll select which, if any, are deemed to be the best option for the village. And then we can authorize a purchase and sale agreement for the property. So that is one item for your consideration. I'm going to jump to the third item and work my way back. Last month, there was a hearing before the advisory PZC body considering application for a community solar farm. 5 megawatt solar farm that would be situated on some currently farmed property in the village. It's a pretty big parcel of property. The actual solar farm only takes up a minority portion of that property. The PZC recommended approval of the special use by a 5-0 vote with 1 abstention and 1 absence. There were no property owners that came in opposition to the proposal. There were a couple neighboring property owners that came and spoke in support of the proposal. Because it is within your jurisdiction to make the final decision, you can deviate from that recommendation or not as you see fit. The ordinance as drafted also provides for authorization of a site approval permit. There are a number of recommended conditions attached to this approval. Some of them relate to this project still has to be approved and funded by the state. They need to secure the permission from the village to do it. So some of the final engineering would come through at a later stage once the state had greenlit the project. So some, in addition to our sort of standard conditions, that is one of the conditions associated with it as well. If there's questions when that specific agenda item comes up for discussion, I can field them because I was at the hearing and you guys have the benefit of the PZC's findings and recommendation on that as well.
Well, Glenda is here, so she's the chairperson of the
Mhm.
PCZ, so she would probably tell us to like.
Yeah, absolutely. I can go into it in more detail as if needed, and otherwise I'll defer to her. Finally, and I don't know how much detail we want to go into, but in this setting, but there had been an inquiry and I was asked to address and get some input from the village board about how you want to handle an unincorporated, an incorporated portion of the village that isn't currently serviced by your water system. I don't know all the infrastructure of the water geography by there, but you guys do have an ordinance that says if there is a water meter within 100 feet of a property, that property must come online onto the village's water system. I'm guessing by the nature of the inquiry that criteria is fulfilled here, and the village has not yet demanded that they come online. So that is something that your ordinances provide for. It requires some advance notice to be provided by the village. Under the terms of an annexation agreement relating to this particular set of properties, the village did agree to waive connection fees that would otherwise be typically applicable. So it would just be the normal water service rates if they came online. So I guess we'd be looking for some general direction, if that is.
Back all that up.
Because they didn't
All
want
that up.
Well, I think that there's more to it too, so.
they didn't want nothing to ever do with, the third owner wants nothing to do with their water.
Well,
Are we sure about that?
there,
Has it changed?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Are we sure? Are we sure about that?
I'm sorry.
Currently.
I've intentionally been speaking a little bit vaguely because I know this was initially something that there was debate about whether or not it was going to be discussed publicly. We're talking about the Rolling Meadows mobile homes.
so
Okay,
during
I
the,
thought we were still talking about the solar property.
no,
No, they
During-
need no infrastructure.
during the pipe break, we found in our ordinances that says if you are connected to the village's water system, you are not allowed to have a secondary source of water that has the potential to contaminate the source of water, and that must be abandoned.
Oh, this
I'm
is
not quoting it verbatim, but it's similar. I was
right.
actually gonna read it, but
Private wells.
right now, so we have a private well with a direct connection to the village's water system. It's one valve. And it could potentially contaminate the village's water. But we know the repercussions of
So,
going the other direction of that could be a lot of damage.
so wouldn't it be cheaper and just to disconnect the one valve from our water system and call it done rather than force them to take our water that they've never wanted?
Well, and we really haven't had that
Well-
conversation with the new owner yet because it's difficult to contact.
But-
I thought Sandy had said
But
that.
making an owner take it when the residents want it though, right? I mean,
Correct. I mean, we know what the quality of the water is over there. I mean, it's deemed drinkable.
I don't
Question is,
think.
would you drink it?
Well, is it
If
the
we
well?
have the ability to force them to take our water, I'm all for it at this point.
Is it the well though, or
I've
is
done
it
this
the
for
piping?
years.
I'm at the same
I
point.
think
you
it's a
are,
little bit of both.
because it does stand the chance, if that valve was thrown, you could actually force that well water back into our municipal system.
Correct.
And that is a possible, it doesn't say a source of contamination. It says a possible source of contamination.
What, we talked about this, isn't this where it reduces, there was a reducer on it so that it doesn't blow up their system?
The street that's connected right now is new. It doesn't have that problem, but their system does not run anywhere near the pressure our system does. There would have to be a pressure reduction put in.
Yeah, what,
Regardless of that, even if
I don't have an issue with hooking it. I just don't want to cause the people who are already living there that we're trying to help more problems by hooking them up to the water. That's all I'm saying.
And with,
Right, and there's a means to reduce that pressure once it comes past our valve. However, there's been conversations and the new owner needs to have this exact same conversation. But there's a means to purchase bulk water and regulate the price to the point where they could upcharge in a minute amount
Right,
to
right,
cover their infrastructure costs, to start replacing their infrastructure to accommodate the higher pressure or accommodate the reduced pressure valve that they gotta put in.
I
At
just
this
don't wanna
point,
cause
for the
more
sake of the
problems.
residents and the health and safety, if we can force them onto our water, I say we do it.
the only
because this
other,
has been
the
going
only
on
other
for
issue we may
a
run
decade.
into, and Brett can correct me on this, is with the length of time that system has been there, the amount of sediment in those lines. Are we gonna improve the quality of the water?
It would only take a flushing.
There's,
But they
from what I
can't-
understand, there's a lot of sludge at the bottom of that. I don't know that for certain, but that is something. I've
Once you
heard.
push pressure into it, it's going to put, once you put pressure into that system, wherever the debris sits, the pressure is gonna keep it there. Especially if it's
Right.
lower.
It's not until you
gonna-
disturb it.
So then it
Even
might
if you
go,
disturb it, how are you gonna disturb debris? Sediment at the bottom of a well to get it to float up, especially when we have.
I'm not talking
higher
about,
pressure.
well, I'm talking about in the lines
the
now.
lines are
Even
corroded.
then, I'm talking about the well first.
So
Now
that's why I deferred to Brett.
The line,
May
you
be able to-
can just flush that out.
Right.
Within a matter of a couple of days, whatever sediment is the concern, that'll be gone.
Well, that sounds
Well,
easy.
we would need a little more information before we make that, in my opinion, because we need to know what they have for flushing hydrants. I've been told there's only a few.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to get that sediment, that buildup or whatever, take the well out of the equation. The well will be whatever that's gonna be done with the well. It's not gonna be,
Let me ask.
it's not gonna
this.
play into it.
Do or does the residents have sediment, debris and dirty water now?
Yes.
Yes.
What's the difference? If we hook them up to our water, they're gonna have to shut off their well because that's what our ordinance says.
And that's where
And
the,
at some point, our water will dominate that system and they'll get clean water. Whether it takes a week or 2 weeks.
I agree with you 100%. I just want to make
I
sure
don't
people
know.
don't think that.
My worry is that it'll look like a sprinkler system.
And that's up to the owner.
Well, and again, would have to reduce the pressure with the existing system until they could get their system replaced.
And
Then
we can put a reducer on our.
we could.
Then I don't have an issue with.
When we use,
Nathan, I don't mean to be stepping on your toe, but this is all you.
No, yeah, no, I'm
when
100%
when
in
we,
agreement with this.
when we use the word force, at what, that's at their cost to put in this water, or do we, I mean, how does that work when we force them?
Well,
Is the onus still on them to pay for all the infrastructure improvements or pay for all the different things that would be needed to bring it to the community, or is the village gonna find some deep pockets and pay for it all?
And if I heard William right, he's also in the mindset that we could put the pressure reduction valve
I
in.
would have no problem putting a valve on the end of our valve.
Well, I don't want to-
Wouldn't have that.
I wouldn't want to cause a problem.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
That's-
Like, I don't want to be the cause of new problem.
But understand-
I'm all for being
There would
the
also,
benefit to
there
them,
would
but I
also
don't want to
be
be a
cost-
cause of any new structure.
there would
problems.
also be cost savings in this for them as well. I mean, it's not gonna be all expense of buying water, but they would also no longer have to have their own regulated water system. They wouldn't have to have their own water operator testing and all that stuff. We would be doing all the testing out there if the water was ours. Correct?
Would we?
It's in a business, we'd test up to it.
okay, I was gonna say, we
At the end
need,
of line, we could actually pull samples.
okay, that's where I'm going here is how far are we going into this?
No,
Are we
we're not-
stopping? Are we,
Well, that's why I want.
we're not maintaining?
We-
Where's
If
the
it's
end
on-
here?
If it's on our water, we need to figure out where we could take samples, where we have to, because it's a business.
Yes, yes, there would be, yes, we could take, hose bib, stuff like that, do back tees, our normal stuff like that, but,
No, I'm not talking about taking over the system. That's
okay,
theirs.
good.
System, it's old.
Okay,
We own to the valve.
Yes.
So have we approached the
So-
owner?
So we know which way.
and that's gonna,
Not recently.
That's why we're discussing this.
and that's assuming that we're allowed on the property.
Which we'll have to, if we do this is an agreement
just
we're
gonna
gonna have
leave
to
it there.
make, so we can come onto the property and.
I'm just gonna leave it there.
Right,
I
so
think there'll
they
be.
have access to,
I,
Yeah, they'll be the reducer.
I'm
I
just
mean,
throwing, I'm just
we
throwing
would
that
need
out there.
that
so.
in for that, so.
For that.
So
Yeah.
that's,
But yes, that is doable. Yes.
that's the gist of what this is. We have that opportunity.
I don't know. I don't
So
know
how you feel about it?
cost. Yeah, can we see the cost of
Well,
what it would cost us before
what-
we
I'm,
decide we want to force anybody to do something that's gonna be,
Cost of what?
I don't know, what's it gonna cost us? Is it just gonna cost us to reduce?
The reducer valve.
Putting in, and that's it? How much is that? What are we talking?
I would suggest we have that engineered.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
which would then need them to get on a cooperation from the owner to
I-
get on site and.
I'm assuming we need to talk to the owner.
We probably
First.
do. But I mean,
Okay.
Again,
Okay, all right.
and I,
About a lot of things, apparently.
Yes,
and I think that's where I asked the question about cost. If he's
Yes.
willing to play along, then our cost would probably just be the reducing valve. But in the event he says, I don't want your water to get off my property, now we're gonna have to spend our money to force him to take
Well,
our water.
originally we were
That's
gonna
my
put this
question.
into executive
Opposed to
session,
that
but
either.
Mark has deemed that we weren't
but
qualified.
that's not
for
like-
that. So here we are in open session.
okay.
I guess we can
And the only
see
reason
what
I'm-
happens.
Yes, we should do that.
Let's just wait and see what his response are
I
there.
could make it so.
That's kind of what I'm saying, John, is because
All right,
Everybody's in agreement, contact the attorney, or
Yeah.
the owner,
yes.
Yeah.
see what they have to say, see
Yes.
about moving forward with getting
Yes.
this connected,
yes,
help people out there the best we can. All right,
You have to remember that
Sure.
those people are residents. And
Absolutely.
therefore, they should be made, the owner should be made to follow our ordinances. They are within village limits.
but we do not have a ban on wells, because we still have houses within the village that have wells. We do have an ordinance stating that if there is a connection where there's possible contamination. And that's what's taking,
In which we've established was
is,
contamination at one point.
well,
Okay.
no, is.
Plain devil's advocate, the owner's gonna say, my system had no potential in depth and contaminating the village system. The village system is one that failed recently.
It's not about not about the recent. failure,
Not about
the fact that it's
comebacks.
Connected to our municipal system and any
We
source.
get caught up.
Possible
Just see what they have to
contamination.
say.
Okay.
they have a lot of.
And ask him, the only thing of it is we tried to enforce our ordinances, which we were told we could enforce our ordinances out there, and that was, that never came
Well,
to fruition either, so.
I'll play devil's advocate for you too, as the owner comes along and says, fine, shut the two valves off, the last street's now on our water.
Right.
And he has every right to do that. We'd have to disconnect the valve. Because we can't have that solid connection there. All that connection was made
Well, then he can pay to disconnect it.
however we choose to do that.
Let's have a conversation before we speculate.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Oh, definitely. We're not,
it.
we'll try the talking and see if we can get
Yeah,
agreement.
I'm assuming we need to speak with Sandy and then when she returns and then I'll discuss
Yep.
who's gonna contact
If
them.
you want to contact the owner, by all
Yeah, I think that it's probably best that maybe I give this one a shot.
That would be great.
Yeah,
Save us money.
I'll
and
make,
be
I'll,
polite.
I'll make a phone call this time, so
Nathan,
All right.
could I also recommend that you
absolutely.
talk to the owner and not the property manager?
Yeah, that is the goal.
It'll be the owner.
The decision maker needs to be spoken to, so.
Well, the property manager thinks that she is the decision maker.
It doesn't come out of her pocket, so
That's correct.
these choices.
All right, shall we move on? What are we doing with the two resolutions?
That's my questions. That's my question.
Are we waiting on a motion? Is that what you're-
I'll make-
So
I don't think
I'll
so.
make a motion for the PVC resolution number 22-R. My paper says 01. Brenda, correct me if that's wrong. For resolution adopting
And-
findings of fact and recommending approval of a special permit conditionally authorizing the development of a community solar farm in the agricultural district.
One of you will have to make that.
It's 2210 is the resolution.
yeah, she read the title of the exhibit,
Oh, I
B,
see.
which is the PZC resolution recommending this.
Sorry, where is this?
Underneath village attorney.
Where is?
No, where's
5280?
East of the, east of the tracks
Okay.
along Junction, south of the tracks along 72.
Oh,
We looked at this before.
Oh, that's the one in the back?
Yeah.
In the Back, all
You
right.
can't see it from the road.
All right, here, I'll make a resolution to approve ordinance number 22-10, an ordinance granting approval of a special permit conditionally authorizing the development of community solar farm in the AG.
Second.
Do I need
You
to read the
already
rest of
have
that?
you've already got a motion on the floor, me as chairman.
Where, what,
You, according to the attorney, you can't.
wasn't a solar
Yeah.
person supposed to come and speak tonight?
They're here.
Oh.
Oh,
Maybe we should have them
oh,
discuss some
sure,
stuff
go ahead,
before,
sorry.
before we make this.
We table?
We'll bring you on
No,
discussion.
oh, this is on it, okay.
If we get a second, we'll go to
The
the second.
second, go to.
John did.
Thank
All right. So wait, gotta get there. Chris makes a motion to approve resolution number 22-10. John seconds. Discussion.
We heard this all before.
Step right up.
You're gonna need to get to the mic,
Yeah.
make sure there's a green line. Yeah, I have questions, so.
Push the button, and get the light on. It's
It's
facing,
right in the middle. Yep,
button's facing.
right there.
Hopefully it'll turn green.
is it green?
You can pull it out too. It's,
I don't think it, is
Hold
it on?
hold the button down,
We always have to change the batteries every week, so.
probably killing the batteries.
All right, that's good.
All right,
Then you're working.
can you,
if it has a green light on, we're good.
Well, is it registering on your
Let
end?
me see. Do that again.
Just talk loud, we're good.
I don't think so. No,
We're
no, we're not. You don't want that rat.
We'll circle back and come get.
Brenda doesn't want, Brenda, it's gonna circle back to Brenda, doesn't want that rat.
Hear that one?
There we go. Okay.
Okay. What's the amount of radiation that's set off from the line from the energy source to, as it travels to the grid?
Sure. I mean, they're just like any electric, device, there's electromagnetic radiation, but it's marginal. It's nothing that would have an impact to anyone who's outside of the.
Like that would not be affected by any of the.
No, I mean, there's, gigawatts of solar installed. The Illinois DNR, just being one agency that, looks at projects from a ecological impact point of view, reviews these. I mean, you'll find solar all across the country, and there's no direct impact to wildlife from the electromagnetic portion of the system.
And then if I understand this correctly, it goes to the grid. No one in our direct immediate spot benefits from this unless for some reason it comes back from the grid, correct?
Yeah, so how this project works is it's interconnected to the ComEd electrical distribution system, just like any other generator. So like the Byron plant, for instance, when those electrons are being generated, they are going on the lines and being used by wherever the nearest load is. So in this case, the village, residents of the village would actually be, the electricity would be going into their, homes and meters. ComEd, they look at it like kind of like a bucket, where you have, nuclear being poured into there, and you have solar and you have wind, and you as a, resident or ComEd ratepayer, take a scoop out and they bill you for that every month. So you're not going to see a change to your bill or anything, based on the solar being there. But being a community solar project, there is an opportunity for any ComEd ratepayer to subscribe and see net metering credits, which is basically the system by or the process by which if you have solar panels on your roof or connected to your own electric meter, you'll see a reduction in your usage from the point of view of the utility. Community solar is that same process, but with a remote project rather than one on your own property.
So could they sign up for this project without your putting the solar farm in?
I mean, there are, this is just one of many community solar projects that are going to be approved by the state. So, you know, we have a, you know, offer for like a discount to the ComEd bill credit. It's obviously a voluntary program. So if residents wanted to subscribe to our project, they could. If they wanted to subscribe to someone else's project in Kankakee is in ComEd, they could do that as well. But the opportunity is.
And if they sign up for the contract, how long is the contract that they would sign up?
I want to say for residential customers, we offer a 3-year contract. I think there have been some changes in the market, so I can't say for certain if that's kind of our go-to offer. Recently, there's been some changes with allowing customers who have a retail supplier, like a Constellation or, you know, one of those third parties who come to you and say, hey, you know, buy power from us at a different rate than ComEd's, and you'll be buying it from, you know, a wind farm downstate or something. Before, those customers couldn't really participate with community solar. There's been some changes and now they can. But yeah, as far as specific contract terms.
What is the benefit to the village directly?
I mean, certainly tax benefits.
When you guys say that.
Such
Actually,
as,
not true.
Well, I mean, yeah, these are assessed standard amount about, let's see, so there was a bill passed in 2018 that set the assessed value per megawatt of about $218,000. So divide that by 3, the assessment ratio. I don't think that's accurate.
Well, we don't have a high tax.
We have the lowest tax rate
That's
in
what
the
it's.
county.
Sure, I have,
Might be 100, I might be a little off.
Yeah. maybe. We did raise it up.
so I see for our estimates are, so I'm seeing I'm seeing the tax breakdown for, there's Meridian Unit 223, which I'm school district, Ogle County, Linville, Scott Fire District, Community College, the Township Road District, Davis Junction Village. We estimate between $600 and $800 a year, just from this project.
Even so.
That's, yeah.
My home is assessed value at $200,000. I don't pay $600 in tax to this.
I mean, there's a bill. You can certainly look into it.
How many homes will it provide electricity for on a peak day?
Well, looking over that's a good question. So over the course of a year, this project is estimated to produce, you know, so it's a 5 megawatt project AC. In terms of kilowatt hours, which is what you pay for.
Yeah.
A project located here will produce enough kilowatt hours for around 1,000 homes. So, you know, obviously, if it's a summer sunny day, we're producing a lot of kilowatt hours. In the winter, we're producing less.
650. So that's
Sure.
just fine.
And additionally, we do propose a battery storage.
If you wanted to opt into the project there, you know, even though we have a group electrical plan where you can, you know, if you want to go with it, the village set the rates. How long was that for? I can't remember.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah. So, but I mean, people can choose to opt into this or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally voluntary.
So I just wanted to see if you had enough power if everybody wanted to.
Yeah. And again, how it works, anyone with community solar, technically anyone who pays a ComEd bill can participate. But additionally, the project will have or is proposed to have a battery energy system. Now, that's one thing that could be a benefit to the folks in the village in the event of, a blackout or, high demand times. If there's a down the line in the area, ComEd will turn off power and they won't want us to be sending electricity onto the grid. Our system on both ends will have basically a safety switch, one on our end in case we want to go in and do operations and maintenance. ComEd will also have some authority to turn that off. But with that battery system being there, if there's, outside the kind of limits of the village, depending on how ComEd's circuits and lines run around the area, that battery has the opportunity to dispatch electricity for, I think, a 4-hour period and, level that peak demand.
What was the state bill for equalized assessed value on these?
I could look it up for you
I don't know,
real quick.
what's the dollar amount?
The dollar amount was, if you were like Google, it was in 2018, $218,000 per megawatt AC, so MW AC. We're looking at 5 megawatts. So divide by 3, that's 90 something thousand. And then you multiply that by the
15,000 times 5 megawatts. So equalized value of 1 million. Divide by 3 equalized value.
and then apply that to each of the, like the Davis Junction Village. For this property, I see 0.18.
Yeah.
But that value, the 218,000, that was the 2018 value. That does track with the inflation. I know 2021 value was something around 240,000 per megawatt. So that's gone up since then. But it's also, just this is a single property owner who's here in attendance. They'd really be the only property affected by this. There's existing access to the, where we want to site the system. And throughout, we intend on planting a mix of pollinator friendly and pollinator friendly habitat native grasses. So if you're in the area and you have a,
Sorry.
sorry. So after we install the project, we have our fence, we have our solar panels, and throughout the site, we seed a mix of pollinator friendly and native grasses, basically CRP or prairie. That helps with, that's good for the soil quality. And it's also, home for pollinators, which is needed. So anyone really in the proximity of the project will probably see a, increase in bee activity. So pollinating their, gardens and fruits and vegetables. Sure.
See a few more bees.
Yeah.
Sure the bee people around the bee farms won't mind it either. You said that you have a backup source. As you said before, your power goes to the grid. How would we benefit from a backup source when the power is going to the grid and not to, are you putting a line into our, like something local, so the battery source goes like loops again, or how does, I don't understand how we would benefit from with that when it's going to a grid and then they're shutting it down.
Yeah. So obviously the grid is, a complicated system of
Right.
circular wires. In Ameren has, or not Ameren, ComEd, getting my utilities mixed up, has generation going towards, all areas of Northern Illinois. This project, this battery, ComEd will have some control over when that battery can be dispatched. So as ComEd's trying to, in a, high demand, situation where people are using a lot of electricity, they are controlling, having to determine where power is going. Since we will have this system here, what they could do is dispatch this battery locally to kind of alleviate those high demand in this area. It's not a guaranteed thing to, keep the village from preventing a blackout, as compared to the rest of the ComEd territory, but it is an opportunity for ComEd to utilize that and alleviate some concerns.
You said it was
Locally.
proposed, so it's all just part of the plan, or is it this, that's even a not a guarantee if this goes through, the battery part still may not go through. Like, I don't, is it just part of the whole proposal or is it a separate part of it?
No, the solar or the solar and the storage are part of the same proposal. I mean, our site plan is submitted to have the battery in there. You know, these plans are preliminary. The technology could change, you know, price could go up. So we don't know for certain if a couple years from now, when we build the thing, we will install a battery. But we'd certainly like that option.
So the people that are with you are their neighbors?
You're the property owners.
Oh, just property. Gotcha.
The proposed property is, no one in the village would see it as of now, correct? My understanding from where it's placed on the other side of the tracks. I mean, no one really sees over there as of now, right? So.
You can't see my.
Right. Okay. And then if we grow, the potential subdivision on the other side would not be able to see it either, would they?
No, I think the Panning Place, is it Panning Place?
Yes, Penny Crease.
Panning Place would directly see it.
So future growth would,
That would ever,
would, if it ever happens, but looking forward to the future, because we're really trying to look forward here. If we put this in place, the shelf life to what most solar farms is what, 20-25 years right now? Length of this?
Yeah, I mean,
No, like exactly how long?
between 20 and 40 years.
40 years. Hopefully it lasts 40, but no one really knows yet.
Yeah.
We're in uncharted territory. So if in the next 20 to 40 years that finally kicks off, then now we have.
Where's Panning Place on your property, Gus? Is the proposed Panning Place subdivision on your property or is that to the east of you?
You wouldn't.
The subdivision.
There's a subdivision,
Country, yeah.
That's countries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's off of.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's off 250.
251.
What back there?
Along your trunk line for the sewer.
Check.
I know we had talked about what the expiration on that was. Wasn't there, was it a 30-year? Thought we had
I
I don't
talked
think
about
it's gonna
that.
build,
Not in the near future, that's for sure.
gonna build this out.
So I mean, I do have a question for the property owner, since he's here.
Oh, can you-
I might need to hand him the mic.
What benefit does this have for the property owner? Is it rental?
Yeah, they pay me a annual rent for the land they use.
So I want to be straightforward with you here. I've been on this board for a very long time and we've had to negotiate with you many times. And there's, put it bluntly, there's been no consideration for community interest, in my opinion, from your part on community needs when we've negotiated a property purchase. Why should the village grant this for you?
Well, I think I have been very, very reasonable with the village. The village is supposed to maintain a ditch, including tree growth, and I've been mowing it and doing the tree growth myself. I haven't asked the city to do that.
I'm positive we paid a premium of over $26,000 an acre for a simple 1 acre drainage parcel. And that is double the going rate.
We just voting on the record, didn't we?
I'd have to look that up. I don't remember what you paid. But you know, again, when you want to take a 1 acre piece out of a farm, that comes at a premium.
I would agree,
So,
but it was a piece you weren't using. It was a drainage piece.
no, that's not a true statement, so.
Still in discussion.
I have no additional questions. No.
Anything further on that side?
So if this panning place goes in, or when it goes in, let's just assume that it's going to at some point. Is there any precautions that are being taken to, I didn't see anything in the plans or anything to prevent the sight line from that. I'm could there be something put into place so that way in 20 years, if it's in 20 years, that maybe full growth trees would block that at that point? I mean, is there something that we could do to prevent? My concern is that a solar farm would prevent residents from wanting to move in when you have a solar farm. I don't want to move next to right where I can see a solar farm. And it's not really,
Maybe this will.
it's not the eyesight I want to see outside my window.
On the parcel that it's slotted to go in, it's pinned at 65 acres. How much acreage is it gonna cover?
The fenced in solar is about 30.
So, and my other concern, maybe this is a legal question, the pin parcel spreads across two different sections with the railroad tracks dividing it. So in the legal description, is it restrictive in that parcel, or is it just to the pin parcel? Because if it's just to the pin parcel, what would stop them from putting it west of the railroad tracks?
So a couple of things. There's two different things on the table here. One is the special use. The special use is simply to authorize the use of the pin, the 70 acres or whatever, 68 acres, whatever it is, for utility purposes, which in this case is the solar farm. So the special use is not specific to the footprint that they have put in. However, there's a second, I'm going to come back to that in a second. There's a second action here, which is the site plan approval. And that is the approval of, if you approve it, specifically where they propose to go with that little 28 acres out of the 70 acres. So you were authorizing a specific footprint by authorizing this resolution or this ordinance. The conditions of the ordinance provide for a couple of things to protect the village from changes in plans. One is the applicant's got to pull permits. This isn't the authorization for them to start digging around. They still have to come in for whatever their permits are, and that requires a bunch of final engineering and additional paperwork for the village to review and standards for them to satisfy. Secondly, this provides that they have to build the project out consistent with what they presented. So if they come back in a year and they say, whoops, we're still going to use 30 acres, but we've decided to put it in the southwest corner of the property instead, that would fail one of the conditions you attach to this, and the permit would be null and void.
So any change from this set of proposal at this moment would need to be revisited?
Like a material change, yeah. I mean, one of the things that that the PZC acknowledged during the presentation is that final engineering hasn't taken place. So one of the requirements is that before any permits be submitted, final engineering takes place. And that is particularly important for this project because there is an environmental overlay district in that general area. And they have not applied for any special approvals to be able to develop in that area. So they would not be able to go outside of the footprint that they're doing now without triggering the need to get some additional relief from the village to enter into that, the EPOS, the environmental, whatever it stands for, protection overlay district.
What is the construction period for a project like this?
I would between 3 and 6 months. Most of the activity. So, once we mobilize, a lot of the deliveries would take place in the first 2 to 4 weeks, and then we'd have folks on site actually driving the piles, which would be the kind of biggest part early on. But then we have to do testing and commissioning with ComEd to actually turn the system on. So all in all, from entering the property to flipping the switch, 6 months tops.
And what kind of equipment would structural equipment, truck traffic, vehicle traffic, what?
Well, it's the proposed parking lot, so I'm assuming that there's a lot of traffic that's going to be trucks, construction workers.
The off junction.
And so this parking lot is going to be where?
It would be on the
So on the other side of the tracks potentially, or on
Yeah, but Gus only has one access, and it comes off of Junction and it goes over a non-gated crossing over the tracks.
Right, and there with an easement in place already for that crossing. So the equipment would be, and I don't know if there's a road use agreement that the village has. And at this point, the plan is still preliminary, so I can't really comment on specific number of deliveries. I'd say there would be maybe at most a dozen deliveries a day, or at like on one particular day for the first couple weeks. Those will be on flatbed trucks coming into the property. Equipment needed to install the system would be pretty light. I mean, shouldn't be heavier equipment than what's used to farm the property. You'd have a equipment to drive piles into the ground. That's the kind of racking the foundation that the solar panels sit on. We'd have some concrete poured for the transformer pads, which is kind of the electrical, like where it connects the battery. So other than the initial deliveries, the bulk deliveries, the construction would be pretty light equipment.
Once up running, you only need like twice a year guy teammate, right? That what my understanding is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then everything else is done remotely according to your package.
Yep, monitoring is all done remote. We would work with a local contractor for vegetation maintenance, for any electrical preventative maintenance. During the first couple of years, as that vegetation is maturing, we'd probably have someone out more like once a quarter to do any mowing and monitoring that. But yeah, it can all be done remotely. And like I said, ComEd will also have, if they're doing any line work in the area, they have the ability to switch us off and do their own work without having us be on site.
This is all contingent upon the state of Illinois choosing the site.
I'm not a big fan of delivery extension track down Beach Road. If it could come in off of 251, that'd be ideal in my opinion.
Their way to get to it. I don't know.
Yeah, without concession, well, going through Panic, right? Like,
Somebody else's property.
yeah, going through someone else's property to get to it.
It's an LLC that owns it.
I mean, 251 would be great if it could go in that direction. I mean, but because then there's no.
How high is that tree line between your properties? Between your property and to the east?
Hand him the microphone.
Thank you.
If any. According to this.
What's a normal, there's quite a few trees between there.
Is there a fence there?
There will, be, right?
Can we?
There's an old fence. I would say that at this point, no fence, but the solar farm will put up a fence. It's-
Between your property and the property to your east.
Is there a fence right here?
We get
Like I said, there was an old fence though, but it's not in,
like that.
So I don't know if the question is directed to you. So you can attach conditions to a special use. The conditions from a legal perspective are supposed to be tied to making the development compatible with the criteria that you're judging it by. So compatibility with neighbors, no undue unnecessary impacts, things of that nature. But one of the criteria is the benefits. You're weighing benefits to the community versus impact on the community. So I suppose you could.
I'm ready.
We
Is
did
there any
add,
further discussion?
Call to order, somebody.
we did add conditions about if there was any kind of road damage that they would be liable for it.
I'm sorry, is that in the contract?
No, I don't know. That's what she's asking.
It's one of your conditions.
It is one of the conditions?
Junction.
All right. No, or if it's a muddy day or something, it's gonna kick up a lot of stuff. debris.
Well, that's, I do believe that's an ordinance violation anyway. You can't drag that kind of stuff out, so they'd be responsible.
For cleaning that, I mean, but how long does that take though? That'd be my concern.
I can
Should
usually,
they be
I
prepared?
can usually make things happen pretty.
All right.
All right, any discussion on the topic?
Did you mention what your name was? So I could write it?
Yeah, sorry. My name is Nathan Wozniak,
Okay.
project developer with US Solar.
Sorry, my last thing is this, the planning and zoning board did approve this, right? Recommended.
They recommended it, yes.
Come to the board, yes.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Yeah, just there was a question about the damage to roads.
No, I get it.
The section for the very last condition that is proposed reads, developer shall be financially responsible for any damage to public property, including but not limited to village rights of way caused by its activities related to the project. Right, indicated the way that's usually enforced is the village goes out and documents prior to the commencement of construction, the conditions of the road, and then if there is some deterioration that is, caused by the truck traffic, then we hit them with a bill.
Also added a condition that we need a list of what the vegetation is going to be, because we do have some ordinances that specifically name certain plants, which are pollinator plants that cannot be grown in village limits.
Understood.
Really?
Further discussion? Roll call.
Bill Mochisi is absent. Nathan Maz,
Abstain.
Chris Samples,
Yes.
Jen Christensen,
Yes.
John Talbot,
No,
William Lexinger,
Yes.
so 3 yes, 1 no, 1 absent, 1 abstain.
The abstention goes with the yeses, the majority, so it passes by a little,
4-1.
is treated like a 4-1 vote.
That's 752. All right. Now that pain's over with. Next resolution,
2233.
2233.
motion to approve resolution number 22-33, a resolution authorizing the sale of village-owned surplus real estate 117 Prairie Moon Drive.
Second.
John makes a motion to approve resolution number 22-33. Nathan seconds. Is there any discussion?
Yes. What is this for? Who we selling it to?
This is just authorizing offering it for sale, so you're gonna open up to bids.
We
Um,
did that.
we did and didn't, either didn't get a responsive bid or you got a lowball bid.
Yeah,
that-
wasn't enough.
Right.
So there's a couple ways you guys
Cover
can
an
sell
expression
property.
mark.
The way that you originally opted was a way that requires you guys to get at least 70 or 80% or something of the appraised value of the property. We had an appraisal. I don't honestly remember what it is right now, but your offer was not even half of the appraised value. So the other method of selling is what's being authorized here. It would open a window for bids, direct the publication of the notice, and bids would be opened in November. I believe there is a particular entity that has reached out to Sandy and expressed
Mhm.
interest. So I think the thought was that you'd have at least one interested bidder, maybe there'll be others.
Do they need to specify what they want to use the property for?
Let's see, I drafted this a little while ago, so let me see. The actual notice that will run is attached as Exhibit B. So let's see, it says anybody can, there's no minimum bid. The bid should include a purchase price and a development plan for the property that details the proposed structures or other improvements. And a estimated project schedule. So yeah, you'll have that. You'll have the benefit of that information. You're not actually required to choose the top bid if you like the second place bidder's vision for the property and you think in the long run it's better for the village. You know, you have a lot of freedom to direct what you think is best here.
And we can't use whatever previous, but this has to be a new section and
Yeah.
separately, correct?
Yep. So Sandy will run some notices and November 8th at a meeting, you'll open the envelopes, hopefully envelopes. Plural. And, let's see what's in them.
Well, we're not required to take any of them, are we?
You can reject them all.
We already know what to do.
So this is, so the short answer is this does not direct the sale to any particular entity. It just sets in motion for I think the third time now.
Without as many restrictions as it had before, correct?
Right. That's right.
Major restriction.
Any further discussion on this? Please.
William Lexinger,
Yes.
Bill Multisi is absent. Nathan Moss,
Yes.
Chris Samples,
Yes.
Jen Christensen,
Yes.
John Talbot.
Yes,
Six and one absent.
Motion passes 7:55. Anything further, Mark?
No.
All right, so on the committees, community development events, Jen?
I am working on the Halloween drive-through, which is scheduled for Saturday, October 15th, and the hours is gonna be from 2 to 4 at the fire station parking lot. That's all I have.
Finance, William?
We do have an emergency expenditure for Northern Illinois Service Company. This is the company that came out to do the emergency repair on the water main. There will be one additional emergency expenditure, to my knowledge, coming in from Kelsey. This will be, that one will be for the emergency repair for the inlets and the finishing of the groundwork, the drainage. So there should be one more coming, but this one was the emergency call out on Saturday, once we located the leak, to cut the pipe, replace the pipe, put in a new 45, I think. So I'll be honest. Actually, I won't even say this. But I make a motion to approve the emergency expenditure to Northern Illinois Service Company for the emergency water main repair on August 27th, 2022, in the amount of $10,533.50.
Second.
William makes a motion to approve the expenditure to Northern Illinois Services Company in the amount of $10,533.50. Nathan seconds. Any discussion?
There will be one more emergency expenditure coming.
Did we have the jet? Did we ever get those jetted?
Yes,
So we may have that one coming too.
no. In Frank's, Jen. $450.
Oh, beautiful.
We already paid it.
Disregard.
Weeks ago, you guys.
Roll call, please.
Nathan Moss,
Yes.
Chris Samples,
Yes.
Jen Christensen,
Yes.
John Talbot,
yes.
William Lexington.
Yes.
Six, one absent.
Passes 7:57. Anything further, William?
No.
Anybody have anything on ordinance enforcement? Sharks and John?
Me and Nate are meeting with Fairgram Thursday. That's all I have.
Streets and Chris?
Apparently I have a lot. You know what, I'll just make a motion to approve resolution 2234, resolution approving and authorizing execution of proposal for Bell Rock Asphalt Paving Incorporated for repair of a driveway at 711 Golden Prairie Drive in Davis Junction, Illinois.
Second,
Chris makes a motion to approve resolution number 22-34. John seconds. Discussion on the project?
This is just for everybody's information. This is where we had mixed the shoulder.
The concrete.
Yeah, the concrete shoulder. Unfortunately, our saw didn't go far enough down and we took out part of the guy's driveway while we were doing it. We're gonna get a bigger saw, right, Fergie?
Yes.
So sorry, we can cut the whole thing. And that, you know what we're talking about or no?
I know where 7-Eleven Golden Prairie Drive is. I don't know of the situation. I might have missed a meeting.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's
but
been a
it was
while.
It was in
Last
last year,
year.
that
Yeah.
we did it, so, yeah.
Are we replacing an entire driveway?
No,
No.
The
not the whole
entire
strip.
right of way
Right.
portion
Sure.
that's 3-car wide.
yeah. It's expensive though, right now.
I was gonna say, good God, this seems like an entire driveway.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
It's full
the times.
3-car.
I can tell you my entire driveway, what, a year and a half ago, 2 years, whatever it was, $4,000. So there you go.
It almost is a drive. If you're trying, I mean,
Yeah, so,
A big
you
drive.
know,
The single car.
What do we do?
we replaced the concrete shoulder,
yeah.
And
we
in the
did,
process,
chunked the driveway.
Right,
driveway.
because we didn't have a saw that, you know, that when you pour those shoulders, they go out down and under and that was just part of the process.
Wasn't this just the corner and?
No, there's actually a piece that runs along the curb too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shoulder.
no, it's a lot. We get it, but
Yeah, it's not
that's what
something,
it
but
is. What it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yogi Berra, I think.
it's our,
Anybody have anything else?
Roll call, please. Money.
Chris Samples,
Yes.
Jen Christensen,
Yes.
Don Talbot.
Yes.
William Lexinger,
Yes.
Bill Mulkey absent, Nathan Knox.
Yes.
Motion passes 801.
Okay, so the next thing is, the bid that we put out for the, Junction Road sidewalk replacement. Because it was more than we expected. Actually, I wasn't sure how much it was gonna be because I got 3 different prices on it from Willett Hoffman, three estimates or whatever. But, I think because we put it out so late in the year, we didn't get a good pricing and, it's way more than what we told the fire department, so we wanted to give them warning too. So I'm not sure exactly how we do this, then, is there just a motion to accept or reject the bid?
Motion to reject.
Well, you know, that's my recommendation is that we reject the bid. Is that all we need is make a motion to reject the bid?
Mark,
Yes, that is correct.
All right, then I'll make a motion to reject the bids for the Junction Road sidewalk replacement and in front of the fire station.
Chris makes a motion to reject all the bids for the Junction Road sidewalk replacement project for fire station. John seconds. Any discussion?
So you're just rejecting it so we can have more time to talk to
No,
chiefs and everything?
that's part of
Yeah.
it. Part of it is that I think it's going to end up being less expensive
In the future?
in the spring, like in March, when they all start bidding on all the
Fingers
stuff. And the other part is to give the fire station fair warning that their amount is gonna be more than what we had anticipated. And make sure that they want to continue through, otherwise we're just gonna do our portion, which will make it less expensive anyway.
Perfect.
I'm pretty sure they're going to anyway, but it's just, you know, it's a lot more.
Agreed. Okay. That's all. I have.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Jen Christensen. John Talbot.
Yes.
William Lexinger.
Yes.
Nathan Knox
Yes.
and Chris Sampson.
Yes.
Motion passes at 803.
Before you go into this one, can I ask why we need a resolution for this?
Well, the truth is, well, we had already agreed on the original price. The problem is that they ended up billing us for like $2,300 extra because,
Is that what this is?
yes,
Got it.
all right. You know, there's some back and forth about whether or not we had an estimate and you know, whether we could force.
Back and
this-
forth.
Well, between Bernie and I had that.
Oh, I was gonna say,
We were, and Will it Hoffman too, we were discussing it with that, because I mean, we got an estimate for a hard price that was actually over the bid limit, and then we voted to waive that.
they got a quote.
we got a quote.
Got a quote.
That's all.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know,
There's,
what's the
there-
difference?
there's a difference.
What's the difference? 'Cause I'm
Well,
not really
quote
sure.
is binding or estimate.
Yeah, but a
Mhm.
quote is,
But you put it out for bid for other people, so they were the they were the lowest, that's what you went. to.
It wasn't a bid though. It was,
Well,
we put it
the
out
two
for
different-
quotes, right, for other people.
Two.
Right, right. But was it the fact that the amount of was off? Or the amount of the materials needed was off by Willie Hoffman?
We accepted the quote from those people and that's what was binding contract for them.
I don't know, is that
So,
right?
like in first, my part is auditing, like if the auditors came and say, why
Uh-huh.
did you pay them $2,300 more? That could be a comment.
That's what it was, $2,300. All right, what about that, Mark?
So because they are asking for more money than you previously agreed to, that's why this is an action item in front of you. So I agree with your point. You would have to make a further authorization to pay them $2,300 more than you previously approved.
I don't have an issue with that. I'm saying, should we be paying them extra 2,300, even though we had what do you call it?
Quote.
A quote for the amount? Should we be paying them the extra 2,300?
I don't know the circumstances that led to this going 2,300 over. I don't know if it was an error on their part, or an error in the village's communication about the facts on the ground, or somehow the description of services. So it's a little hard for me to say. I know that's kind of a dodgy answer, but that's sort of the best I can do. It kind of depends whose mistake it was. Why did it go 2,300 over? If you're asking my opinion, could you say, I mean, again, if the error was something that they did wrong, or they didn't plan their staffing correctly and they had to do a rush job because of their internal operations, I would say you could stick them with the bill and yeah, and I doubt they'd
Here's
come
my
after you
thing,
for 2,300
is there's
bucks.
only a few companies that actually do this.
Well, here's my thing.
Okay, go ahead.
When we get audited, the auditors will, if they.
Right,
bring
but-
this up, they will ask you, why did we pay
Then
them
you
more?
could say that we,
And I'm gonna cover my,
right, but
whatever, because I have to answer the audit.
no, I get that, but if we pass this, then.
So then we're-
All right. Yeah, no, I get
That's why I didn't want to pay that bill.
No,
to begin
no,
with.
I have no problem with that at
Okay.
all. And I actually have a problem with them charging us the extra 2,300. What I don't think it's worth is fighting over it for the $2,300.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, frankly, they probably would make the same calculation. So, you know, I hear you.
If you use them again, they'll get it back.
So, there's only a couple that do it. So, but in the future, I think
They're gonna
that
get it one way.
I've learned
Thought we're taking
about
donations
not
or for
bidding
sign.
stuff out. So,
But what are we opening up if we're allowing someone to change the price?
well, it's not,
This
it's not,
isn't changing the price.
No.
This was extra material that was needed to finish the job.
But if you quote something,
well, even.
You're
even-
quoting
should
by
have
material.
Materials
So the way this would so you had the communication come in the
beforehand.
typical manner before, when they realized right away, they would come back, they would ask for a change order,
Right.
and whatever your internal procedures are. So I don't know if it would come back to the board, or if on an administrative level, you'd authorize green light
Just
change
in a-
order.
but in an
In
emergency.
this case, for whatever reason, and I truly don't know what the reason is, I don't think anybody reported it at the time. We just got hit with the bill after the project was over. Oh, by the way, we used a bunch of extra gravel.
Because we would rather than finish the project than
Right.
cut it short and come back and say, hey, we need more material. And by the way, hey, the weather's gone to crap and we're gonna do it next year.
Right. And the truth is, on projects that we actually bid out, there's a contingency built into them, which would be 10 to 20%. And this would
That would be.
yeah,
within that.
it would be within.
this is right there at that 10%. It's amazing.
Right. So there's
Well,
always
it-
a contingency.
But this was different because we waived.
Well
the charge
played.
of bill.
I know, I got it.
I
But
make a motion to approve resolution 22-35, a resolution waiving competitive bidding requirements, and approve and authorizing payment of invoice for Porter Brothers
And either, I
for
just-
seal coating of Edson Road.
Second.
William makes a motion to approve resolution number 22-35. John seconds. We've had lots of discussion, but do we have more?
Keep 7 minutes apparently.
An hour and 7 minutes.
John Talbot,
An
Yes.
hour and 7 minutes.
William Lexer,
Yes.
Herbal T.C. Epson, Nathan Oz,
Yes.
Chris Sample,
Yes.
Jen Christensen.
Yes.
Motion passes at 8:08. An hour and 8 minutes. Anything further, Chris?
No, no.
Nathan, utilities?
Man, everyone's discussed my stuff today, so I'm good. I got nothing else to talk about.
Did you get your garbage can? All I want to know is if you.
Anyone out there listening, do not put your garbage in the new containers. Please use your old ones and then leave your old ones out there so that way they can pick them up.
By the time this goes out, It's gonna be.
They'll-
set in-
garbage will be-
You know, the truth is, they've already.
Maybe someone's listening out there. I don't know, but
When they call.
if anyone cares to listen, I'll try to post something on DJ Rants again later that just says, hey, leave those old ones out there.
If
Well,
not,
they-
we
we
stuck
have
with the
it
garbage.
I think nobody's,
Well, re-forward that
we only
post
get,
that no one's seen
we only
because
get one
everyone keeps
call
asking
today.
about it, so.
so
We only had
It's
one
probably
call
gonna-
today.
that's it.
Yeah.
It is on the website, though.
Right.
It is,
It's on
and
the
then
website, and
it's
I'm sure
been
the Facebook
forwarded and we,
page is gonna be.
yeah,
Beating in their head.
but
And there's
I've seen a few
mostly
garbage cans of the new ones out there on a couple residents. I don't know if it's still left.
I still think they're sitting there.
I don't know if they're left, or been filled, but it concerns me that there may be a hiccup already. We haven't even started yet.
Well, the people on Facebook said they don't have internet, so.
Yeah, well. All right. But anyways, that's my rant. I'm done.
I think it's going smooth so far.
All right, anybody have anything on economic development? Public,
Unless you know.
anything further from the board members, employees, officers?
Motion to adjourn.
John makes a motion to adjourn, Chris seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
Any opposed, say nay. We're adjourned to 11.
How was the